I also this broadcast is not brought to you by uh stuff and things and stuff. Monster Energy drink. Assassin's Creed Origins in my friend's Xbox near you, near me, or yeah. All right. Let's see if we can come up with a topic and get the sugar-free one. So we're gonna go through the multiverse. And, it's all Justice League with. It's not. Oh yes. Must have gone away. No, like I don't really like playing with those people. Sometimes it's just. Alright, let's go with Burn and see what we can do. Big Firestone here. Okay, cool. And yeah, awesome. Let's play with Robin. Yeah.
Robin.
So, topic we're coming up today with is, let's see, yeah, okay, alright, cool. Violence in real life, as opposed to violence, or, in video games. Okay.
This one of your evaluations?
You could call it that.
Prepare to be amazed.
Firestone will assist you during the fight. Awesome. Okay.
Begin.
Yet.
Dang it. Because I will get tilted. Oh my god. Oh, I'm stuck.
I'm the future of crime fighting.
Oh. Got it. I did not go into
Superman wins.
what I was doing. Need to learn the moves a little bit better with Robin before I do this. Okay, so I'll move forward, more forward motions, I guess.
Why is my father still alive?
Sometimes we have to compromise.
Not as long as I'm around.
Begin.
take no prisoners.
You son of a bitch. Oh, you bitch. Alright, what are we talking about? Yeah. Violence as far as real life, as in violence as far as video games. Oh, got him. Don't put any specials on me. Got it. Okay,
Robin wins.
what are the differences? What are the similarities? Sometimes we don't realize things that that sometimes people or they can or can't do something. Depending upon the way that when they make their thing, it's almost like a daydream sometimes. It's what I guess they defeat whatever bad guys are around, or actually sometimes it's just in that sense a personification of what they see outside in the real world. Like say Spider-Man, for instance. I guess sometimes people would say that that like Lizard Man and Spider-Man go up against each other. It's like a lizard and a spider eventually fought or something like that. And then there was some dude who was like, hey, what if we put these like kind of creatures, like give them personification and give one values and one not values and that sort of thing. Like there's a difference between what people would call fictional violence and actual violence. There's sometimes what people don't understand is in order to actually get up to a certain like caliber of person or caliber of I'd say fighter even as far as in real life goes. There are certain things you need to go through, certain hoops you need to jump through, certain people you need to know sometimes. You're welcome, no problem. Went to the store earlier for my landlord. But understanding that that real violence and fake violence are completely two different things. One is insinuated against something that they believe is evil, and another is insinuated as like a personification of what reality is. One is like people use certain things to be able to make violence in their own thing, like to be able to inflict damage to another person, or just knock them down if they have a certain ball or anything like that. But understanding that that there are so many things that people really need to understand about actual violence, that there is a serious and understandably really serious
Then don't test me.
reality when it comes to actual violence and this kind of violence as far as coding. Yep, he's just doing stupid shit. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pressing buttons and doing absolutely no damage to anyone. But it's been seeming though that that I am that I'm doing something as far as any kind of damage to another person or to anything to anyone else. So it would seem as though that I'm not doing anything. And
Kiss your baby with that mouth?
These oh, she's jumped there. God dang it. Oh, awesome. Let's check my back a little bit. But, oh, okay. Bring it. But, I'm not saying that sometimes they're correlated. In some ways, they're not correlated. I'm not saying that fake violence and real violence are correlated in any way, because even fake violence is taxing. Like think of things like wrestling and stuff like that, and also how many people have actually died because of that. But also too, in the same sense, you don't see people after they stop doing stuff like you don't really pay attention to the people and the problems that they have after they get out of whatever league they're in. You'll see the quarterback, you'll see the wide receivers, you'll see the people who don't see a lot of actual hits and violence and stuff like that.
I am cosplaying.
And actually, people have been hitting each other less. I think a lot more, because, and even running backs But I'm talking about yeah. Yep, it's in the refrigerator. God dang it. No, I didn't. It's in the garage.
The pain isn't over yet.
So, when you're thinking about both, one is kind of led into a storyline, and the other is kind of just had a storyline made around it, sort of rivalries and certain people and certain things. Like to be like, oh, they're not good or bad, but they're angry or something. It's like, no, you need to stop sometimes, because you're teaching kids that being angry is, or being angry at all, or being rivalistic, I guess, besides something that is non-violent is all right. And I think that what we've, as a society, as far as I mean, and I'm as much as American as the next guy, or I mean, I guess not as much, because I don't think that socioeconomic trends point toward me trying to beat somebody up to get to a dude with a ball. Sometimes we played tackle. Sometimes we played other things. I played football in high school, but I didn't really get the point of it. I really wouldn't have made it my career choice, no matter what. I didn't see it as my career choice, because not only that I broke my leg in high school, but because of practice that went kind of wrong, and they're not telling me to back off or lighten up on my speed, I guess. And also it didn't help that I didn't take vitamins, or I wasn't told to take any vitamins or anything like that, or advised by anyone to take vitamins as part of a supplementary diet or anything like that, and that's the point, I think, is the reason why I don't think that it should be taught as a huge thing in high school, is because coaches sometimes don't realize the exact amount of punishment they're putting on the kids, and they don't realize that sometimes those kids need to be able to not just eat 2 lunches, but be able to get vitamins that aren't readily available at the cafeteria counter, and in the same sense, they don't realize that what they're actually, what kind of abuse they're actually putting on their kids by just running them for hours and hours on end. And I don't, my older brother Adam, sorry, I didn't mean to say names, but my older brother, he broke his ankle during a celebration, and not realizing the amount of stress that they were putting on him, and the amount of they taped up the ankles and stuff like that. Like, it's like yeah, why did you tape up the ankles? Because your ankles can't actually be able to account for that much stress on your legs, to be able to be jumping up and down, doing jumping jacks, and running back and forth, doing suicides, or doing a bunch of different things. And also, I mean, it kind of insinuates the word suicides is it's terrible for you if you don't do the right things and you don't have the right kind of vitamins, and even then you're going to be hitting someone on a field in some ways that they're trying to either grab at you or that you're trying to grab at them. That in itself kind of speaks to me as the way that I guess America has kind of just gone with the bare minimum. There's a lot of people out there that have felt the push, I guess, of there being not enough vitamins or anything like that to go around. The amount of people who just, I guess, channel their anger in sometimes what they do sometimes, or even just don't realize that the thing that they go under, the people they go under, even the leagues that they go under have regulations, and those regulations are meant for them to make money. And we're gonna beat some more people up. And
Robin wins.
And also, this I'd say isn't better, but it's not worse. You know, like, and also too, I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not, and these are all usually fictional characters who by their very nature would be taking anabolic steroids or any kind of nanobite technology that would be like, that would probably be
I just can't take you seriously.
Do not underestimate me.
That's usually my line.
Begin.
And these moves are outrageous for the most part, because I mean, any one of these moves would probably kill anyone. I mean, unless these people were actually like immortals and they were just walking around, like just walking around with swords inside of them, or a creature from a lagoon that is basically immortal and needs to heal after every fight. But it's just literally the amount of I'm not gonna do anything on this one. Yeah, it's like there are points of this that are like if things are the way they are and we are the way we are, I guess because there are things that people don't understand and don't know. So there we go. We've only actually what is the word? Discovered at least 5% of our world's oceans, and that's mainly the coastline. We've tried to scan whatever we can scan, but understandably so, we haven't been able to get as much. And there's also been sightings of different creatures and things like that, of that nature. I mean, there's so much stuff that while we're looking at certain violence, like fights and stuff like that, not actually seen. And that's the reason why I think that they shouldn't want to make they shouldn't want to be able to just teach kids football, or teach kids at the most. It's like, and shut up, Bo. God dang it. Shut up, Bo. 17-16, down with 3. Okay, let's go with that one. Shut up, Bo. But yeah, that's the reason why. I actually also don't really want to watch the Justice League thing until they actually start going into different certain other plot lines and stuff like that, because they don't have a real Justice League right now. It's like, and also they're not even going up against the League of what's the word? The League of Injustice or whatever. Or
I'm amazed we let you live.
They're just like, I don't know.
You can't kill what you can't catch.
I'll take care of both now.
Begin.
Son of a bitch. You little... God dang. Awesome. I hit her and...
Feel your life slipping away?
Yes. All right. Let's even the score. Son of a bitch. You just fertilized me. Yep. So,
Cheetah wins.
so as we're thinking about what actually pushes our society forward, or what actually chooses to push our society forward, I think realizing that shut up, Bo, jeez. I think people should understand that. Bo, inside now. You want a treat? Come on, let's get a treat. Yeah, you want a treat, don't you? Come on, let's go inside. Yeah, you do. Go bark at people, you dumbass. I'm not giving you a freaking treat. Alright, I'll give you something. Alright. Alright, what am I gonna give it? This is a Dorito chip. There you go. Good job, bro. For not barking at those people anymore. Alright. He didn't get a Dorito. He got a Tostitos sort of salt chip, and that was it. It's not really much of a treat per se, as much as it is like the amount of sometimes food he actually gets. And I'm gonna beat this bitch with a battle. A battle, not a bottle. So
Begin.
that's it. Son of a bitch! It's like, oh, she beat me or whatever. Gotta get that distance. Alright, let's be here with this special, and then hopefully I'll be able to take her health down with the help of the other dude. It's easier, and then oh, you bastard. Yeah, she beat my ass. Again. Awesome. We're gonna try it again, because we don't back down. Alright. We don't back down. Right?
Wins.
And also, that also strikes a node or a thing with me. The amount of media that pushes don't never back down, or even if everything seems lost, just keep going.
I'll take care of both
it's like,
now.
Begin.
It's like, does that really, like... I mean, does that really even, like... Finally beating her at one
I'm the
point.
future of crime fighting.
Are you freaking serious? Oh my god! She even scored like in friggin' not even in 30 seconds.
You won't survive.
You should do primal or whatever. Oh, wait, alright, okay. So, understanding, that there are like... Understanding that there are certain things in our media that push, like, oh, even if the odds are tough, like, just keep on pushing through and you'll make it no matter what. It's like, if you lose, it's like, oh, you didn't want it enough, sort of thing. I mean, that's what I got coached sometimes, and it sucks. It's like, it's like really stupid. It's a really dumb way of looking at things, and I realized a long time ago, as I was doing my last, as I was making my last play, and I got taken out of the game, I just realized that it just wasn't enough for me to be for me like think about it anymore. So I just started flipping a ball, started twirling a ball, and then watching the play, and realized that it really wasn't as much as I made it out to be. And that's just my personal opinion. People can think what they want to think, and they can go in what they want to go in what direction they want to go in. But I just think that the more we keep pushing football and all the other different stuff, the more people should be being able to take care of themselves on the higher level of just not just eating less carbs or something like that, but actually giving themselves certain vitamin supplements that or the FDA actually saying that, hey, these are certain vitamin supplements that are actually okay for your consumption and okay for what they actually do. It's like do something, you know? It's like instead of actually just getting a protein shake or something like that, or getting a protein shake from Smoothie King or something like that, realize that you're gonna need to be able to replace some sort of calories or replace some sort of carbohydrates or anything inside of your body that are certain ways to be able to make you feel better after you do something like go play football or something like that. Or I basically wasn't well off enough to be able to play football, and that's sometimes the reasons why I broke my leg, and I wasn't able to afford some of the vitamin supplements that were actually good for me. And in some ways, I probably should have never been able to do that. But realizing that it's not the coach's fault, it's not my fault. It's just the fact is, it's everyone's fault. It's all of our faults to be able to not see the things that push us in ways that we don't see the ways that it actually puts punishment on our limbs, on our lives, and on our heads for the most part. The helmet's there to protect you. It's like, yeah, it is, but it's not protecting you everywhere. And no, it's not form-fitted for your head in high school. So whatever kind of knowledge you're actually gaining from anything, I can barely ever even understand the stuff that I actually did understand in high school. And that has a lot to do with me playing football. It really does. It has a lot to do with it. It has so much to do with it. And I tried very hard to actually listen and learn in high school, and I couldn't. I really couldn't. I could only barely actually keep it for the tests, and after the test, they were gone. But understanding that that I can pull forth any of those kind of things sometimes, but I wish I could do it all the time, you know. And I can pull forth any of that knowledge sometimes, but I wish I could do it all the time. And there's a big chunk of my life that sometimes I don't even remember. But that's not the point. Sometimes what I'm really trying to get at is just the way that people don't realize that there are certain ways that real life violence can affect you every single day of your life, and the way that we're working so hard and doing something so much can give you an ego to where sometimes you won't even see someone as you're hitting them. You'll just see another player, or you'll just see another obstacle to do something with, and I really don't want to become a mindless fucking zombie. So I mean, that's just the way that I feel about stuff like that, and that's just the way that I see. Realize that the way that we have treated ourselves over a very long time have pointed towards the areas of destruction, and seeing as we decided to make a destructive nature, I guess, for ourselves. Let's see. Wait, I'm gonna move list. All right. Destructive nature for ourselves. The more we realize that eventually the more we grow older, like the more what do we call ourselves? We're gonna call ourselves pussies or something like that. If we grow old and stuff like that, and or something like, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just
Begin.
okay. Son of a bitch. Thank you.
I can knock you down
Okay,
all
gotta
day.
knock her down and get her out of her special. Ow. Oh my goodness. Got one. Okay, cool. Now I gotta get into my special out of her. Son of a bitch. No. Ah! I knew it was gonna happen, so I just took her.
Supergirl wins.
But does this actually push towards you fighting other people, or realizing your boredom, or realizing that your boredom is pushing you to fight towards other things, or is it the opposite way around? Because in some ways, for me, I think that this actually relieves stress. I think like that, because I mean, I've actually grown up around football and stuff like that, and the way that my dad actually went to football, and then he realized that it wasn't for him. He realized the backhandedness and the stuff like that, the people that are like, oh, I got this for you, or something like that. But I mean, in the same sense, my dad could have realized that he could have needed a new lawyer or a new agent or new anything. But understanding that that the way that he thought the game was actually played back then, I don't know. Sometimes I think that my dad could have re-registered or redone something or redone anything to be able to realize that yeah, he wanted to be able to he should have been able to do stuff for himself, and to realize that, I mean, but understandably so. I mean, I probably would have had a different outlook on football altogether. But understandably so too, I would have probably realized that football was kind of a death sport in some ways, because they really don't pay attention to the linemen for a very big reason. Sometimes their bodies are completely broken by the end of their career. And I really think, and it really takes me time to be able to realize that, oh my God, they have millions and millions of dollars, but in the same sense, they don't have their legs, or they have an enlarged heart, and the same thing can happen to soldiers as far as real violence goes, because of constant overhaul, or constant stress, or constant everything. And realize that the same stuff happens to a lot of people who experience stressful situations and stressful things, and they constantly push towards a stressful situation to where it's easier to deal with for them sometimes, to be able to go towards a certain impact of a certain act of violence, or a certain act of things. And in some ways that can be a reflex. It really can. And the more we push towards never backing down, or never doing something, or never realizing, or realizing that oh, it's time to work, or something like that. It's time to put in work. It's just like sometimes it's time to rest, you know. And realizing that it's time to rest is the biggest thing that you need to realize. Is sometimes it's time to really let things go. And I'm probably gonna pick another character now, because she is really hard to beat. I'm gonna go with another character that I'm probably okay with. -12 plus 10 health. No, I'm good. Let's see, I have that. I'm good. Okay. Alright. Select a new fighter. but yeah, every single time we start to try to realize a new objective in our lives, we never try to back down, and that's the way that I've been thinking about these little live streams and stuff like that, and these little things that I'm doing. I don't want to back down as far as what I'm believing in and what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. But in theory, my opinions could change, and I'm gonna get dead shot.
Dead shot.
I don't understand sometimes the way people actually do things to themselves, the why they do it to themselves for so long, and I realized that eventually. I mean, even with me doing that stuff, or even doing football for 4 years, it really took a toll on my body.
Are you faster than a speeding
and it
bullet?
probably is because of the lack of vitamins that I was
and find
taking, or
out.
the lack of things that I'm actually doing.
Guess you're super
But,
smug too.
But also it could be the fact that it's bad for you, like in the same sense. Realizing that there are certain things that people just don't understand and won't get if you don't like drill it into their head and tell them that it's supposed to happen a certain way, and it's not supposed to happen the way that you want it to happen, or that they want it to happen, or that any of the people that think that they're supposed to do things want it to happen, or that they're supposed to, I don't know. I'm just trying to spitballing, and I'm trying to be able to say that
Why rush the climax?
that there are certain things that we deny ourselves and we don't give ourselves because of certain aspects. I mean, of us saying never back down, and oh, we can't do that, or we can't have a cheat day. It's just, I gotta train you. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, when I have kids, I want to train them and tell them what to do and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna give them not a break at the end of the day. Or I'm gonna tell them, I'm gonna tell them like eventually. I finally beat him. Yay! Amazing. But
Dead shot wins.
But understanding that we all need a break sometimes, and that we're not robots or people that just keep on going, I guess, is a big thing. It's a big thing to realize. It's a very big thing to realize. We can push on to certain things like they train every day and they put vitamins back in their body. It's like sometimes those dudes are eating just like a certain vitamin supplement that's literally their only kind of sustenance every day, and sometimes they're eating like Soylent Green, or not Soylent Green, but it's Soylent, and like we're training ourselves to be able to do things, but in the same sense we're training ourselves to do things that wouldn't normally do. And in the same sense, I guess people are just training themselves a little bit better. They're making themselves a little bit better, trying to make themselves a little bit more, a little bit more of a person, or more of a. But in the same sense, realize that other people don't do that, because there's a freedom here.
Hello, robot.
And there's a freedom to do what you want, how you want to do it, and the way you want to do it. And it's Bumblebee.
Organs and your spare parts.
It's Bumblebee. And in the same sense too, this reminds me of like what happens at the jazz land. I mean, in the same sense, it's really not that funny. It's really terrible to actually think that that this is what is New Orleans. Sometimes people don't understand and don't realize. They think that oh, another place is just gonna come
Now for the big guns.
come right on up and say like, oh, we were looking for you the whole time. Like that happens in movies, dude. That happens in movies, man. Like you can't expect people to just give you money all the time because of what they want to purchase. As your that stuff happens later, you know. It happened later for Disneyland. It happened later for here. I mean, that happens. It happens later because they want to make their money back to be able to not be able to go bankrupt. And once they make their money back, they're like, I mean, I just don't get it, man. I don't get a lot of stuff. It's just like, and also too, I mean, realize that there is so much violence in the cities. In cities, especially this city. There's so much stuff that people don't give credit to, and there are plenty of news stories that just don't make the news. And in that same sense, would you really want to like to see yourself, I guess, on the news or on TV? Because of somebody who won something, or the fact that they say never back down, or anything like that. The fact that you'll find them, or anything like that. That's a really cool freaking thing.
Begin.
But and that's sometimes the reason why I don't really dress up a lot. I like the stories. I like the way that it compels me to do stuff. But I'm not in any. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there's any thing about it. I'm not saying that there's anything about it. I'm also not saying that there's, but also I guess once people start to do things, I guess, as far as they'll start to make stuff out of real stuff, and then they'll start to have exhibitions and start to do different things, and then in the same sense, like imagination brings about innovation, you know. So I mean, what is that imagination going towards? Is it something that can help everyone, help people, and it can't be used for like terrible fucking things, or in the same sense you use a patent so other people can't use it, or you can use a certain government contract so that people can't actually do anything with it until you do something with it.
Your next stop.
Go ahead, make my day.
But also understanding that that eventually, I mean, no matter what, people are gonna actually look for it or see something towards it, or as far as if they see it as something that could actually cause like an economic boom or something like that.
Don't waste my time.
What I'm gonna shut up because I really got a beat to do. But in the same sense, like, what is this push towards, you know? What is any of it push towards? Like, what are we pushing towards trying to push at each other for? You know, I mean, it's like what are we trying to push towards? You know, ask yourself that question with every situation and every choice that you make. What are you trying to push towards? What are you trying to do as far as something for yourself or something for others, or both? And if you're not telling that to other people because of something that you think is good or think is better, or they wouldn't understand, then if they don't understand, then try to tell them or try to teach them. Try to say something about it. Because if you're not telling them, if you're not telling people the reasons why you feel a certain way, or telling someone the reasons why you want change, then there are no reasons for change for you. There's just something that you push towards, or something that you want to push towards, because you don't remember the ability to be able to realize certain things. Or it's messed up sometimes that when people want change, it's like that we want change, but then they don't know the reasons why they want change. They just know that it's not good now, and it'd be better if they had change, or if they had something that was a little bit more change. I don't know. I try to think that sometimes people are a little bit better at realizing their own at realizing their own self-worth, or their own self. I don't know. I gotta see something. Multiverse blown as inspired, blown away. Okay. And obviously, I'm gonna go work as your boy again. But understanding where you stand on certain issues is basically the way that you get to be able to say that I see that there is some things, and yes, I believe that there should be some sort of change. But if you can't imagine what that change would be, or what that change is, then realize that you're not pushing towards any goals. I realize what I am, and I realize that I'm independent, and that I have some conservative views and some liberal views. But in the same sense, I don't hold anyone not accountable for their actions. I really don't like the way Trump is actually making presidency look stupid. And I am, what do you call it? Boy.
Making a good first impression.
Damn it. But yeah, I mean, like, thinking about what I want to see as a discussion, is the fact that I play these violent video games, and do they affect me? Most of the time, no. But, I mean, when I'm thinking about stuff, about confidence or something like that, I'm just like, man, I'm fucking, like, Wolverine. But, I mean, it's like I only use it as a source of confidence, as a way to be able to push that I'm confident out to someone else. Like, I only use that, like, as a way to be able to make something better about myself. But I mean, it's also too, it's not real. It's not real. It really isn't real. And not to say that there's, oh my God, there's some, oh, it could be real out somewhere in some distant universe. And it's like, I mean, it could have happened a long time ago, as far as we know. I mean, it could have happened some sort of, I mean, you know, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But understandably so, it's not happening now. And for that simple fact, it's probably not destroying our universe because these people aren't feeding it constantly, using power from it and shit like that. It's like, power had to come from somewhere, you know? I mean, you have to think of every, like, I think of every single kind of universe scientifically. As far as people who have their own opinions and stuff like that about what he does, and, I mean, don't think scientifically. All this shit that's out here is like you see, like, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna shut up now and just fight this dude. Damn it. Drink my energy drink. Also, think about not where the first violence came from, because there was always violence, as long as there was anything. Our universe is in some ways more chaotic than we could ever even imagine, or maybe it's just chaotic for us because of our I'd say of our nature for chaoticness, our nature to push each other in a certain way, or try to push each other down to be able to make something that other people might want to aspire to be. Think about the reasons why our universe is separating, or the reasons why anything is happening anywhere. Realize that it could be separating because of our violent nature. It could be alive. It could be anything. It could be the way that we perceive it. And sometimes people just did things out of boredom, and the fact that they had ideas that they thought would be amazing for people, but in the same sense are detrimental to people's health. You know, they wouldn't have known it. They shouldn't have known it. They just thought that somehow, some way, everyone should fight, and people should watch, or they should watch, or anyone should watch. And people think that sometimes that makes them a little bit more of a king, or of a little bit more of a master of their own domain. But also to remember that if you're going to do something like that, then you have to be at peak physical condition. And I don't condone violence in any way, shape, or form. So, I mean, it's also a little bit detrimental to me actually making a point because I'm playing this video game. But also in the same sense, I don't believe in any of it. I don't believe that any of this stuff actually exists. But over on the first parts, I think that sometimes people actually, if anything, used what would be smaller ionic bonds to be able to make certain powers in nature, to be able to make certain things come out of a certain area of their hands or anything like that, as far as stuff like that goes. And in that sense, it probably actually started killing the world that they were at. Realized that eventually those things could happen in reality, though. As the fact is, the way that we push at each other can, in some ways, create a rift that could destroy our entire existence. Think about it, because I watched certain things at like Mars and stuff like that, and there really were pyramids along an old equator on Mars. So realize that wasn't just our star. Our star is either dying, or is getting ready to turn into a supernova. Within the next, I guess, 100 million years or billion years or so. And also, too, realize that the more that we sit and wait and push each other, the less time we have, or the less time we have to be able to make it better with each other. Less time we have to be able to make sure that we can look up to ourselves instead of just looking up to each other sometimes. And in the same sense, that person pushing a football or pushing a pencil or anything could have been creating something to be able to make to where we could be immortal, or we could never have to worry about doing anything for the rest of our lives, or for the rest of our life, because life is eternal, and it just moves around, but it is chaotic, and only because we make it that way. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep beating the shit out of people.
Hellboy wins.
Whether this happened in the past, or could happen, or they think that is cool. And those are gargoylic demons, if anyone wanted to know.
Am I allowed to whine?
Even though I don't believe in that shit. Huh?
Am I allowed to whine?
I don't know. You have wine.
Am I allowed to... that box that Brandon brought over?
Yeah.
Did you...
Yeah, I saw that. That's why.
Can't figure me out, can you?
Your mind is human.
That's a really cool skin for Brainiac.
All you gotta know is I'm kicking your ass.
Begin.
I'm actually beating him because he's not at his home base. That is pretty much the only reason. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, you got hamburger monks. Why? Alright, I beat the shit out of him already. What? Yeah. Sound fun. Yeah. Got my special off.
Hellboy wins.
But understanding where our how our brains are actually the way that our brains are actually set up is extremely important to be able to know where everything is and how everything reacts with everything. It's not like a part of our brain does one thing, but the cerebral cortex and the brainstem does so much to be able to regulate our temperature and the way that we do things. Realizing that that though we shouldn't try to give up, I guess, a part of ourselves when we're in that sort of exchange, as far as putting forth violence or any sort of controlled violence to be able to do something. Realize that within the bounds of this video game, it lies the kind of realization that even though it's a story, sometimes it actually can speak to you in some ways.
Your cold's not gonna slow me down.
To think so demonstrates your ignorance.
That's a hell of a thing to say.
Begin.
Won't hurt any less tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. Why did I go that way? Alright, but anyways.
Hellboy wins.
Understanding that that through certain stories that people tell us and the way that people realize they in some ways can control our lives as much as they're actually setting us free. It could be the difference between someone making a mistake or breaking themselves internally. Realize that eventually things start to come to fruition and you'll start to see the damage that you made to yourself or the damage that you made for yourself. And sometimes for people in football or in certain sports or certain lines of sports, they don't realize that the damage they did to themselves is irreversible. And it happens a lot more for the people who are hitting every single second of every single play than it is for the people who are catching the passes or doing different things or making different decisions and stuff like that, or getting paid more or getting paid less. The people who the cameras are on can be a little bit more glamorous in the ways in the things that people actually get things done sometimes, or actually the ways that people actually are doing things. The ways that the cameras move and the ways that the cameras see that, oh my god, that dude just made a touchdown, but that other guy got a cramp, and because he's been blocking for like 12 plays and he's been hit every single play and every single time. He looks like he's not that big, or he looks like he's kind of fat, but that's the point is, oh, he's been doing stuff for a really long time, and oh man, it just man, I can't really take it right now. I gotta look away because, oh man, he hurt his ankle. Oh dang, that guy right there, he had cardiac arrest or something like that. But notice that every single play that they have, they forget it, or they teach you that you're able to forget about it as long as those people are making those plays. People aren't going to stop getting injured as far as football goes. People aren't going to one day just stop getting what's the word cramps and shit like that. Like, because I recently got a cramp really fucking bad. It was like a sharp pain going straight up my leg, and it was really bad. It really sucked, and it was because I was wearing cleats, and I wasn't used to wearing cleats for a really long time. And I probably had to do was take my ankles, but unfortunately, I'm not going to do that. because if something is going to affect me in a certain way, I need to be able to bend and move and be flexible. And once I'm tanking my ankles for so many some odd years, or so many some odd hours, or so many some odd days, eventually my ankles will just fuse. That's eventually what happens to people sometimes who just tape their ankles or use those things that like make their legs bounce back a lot easier, or have those calf things, or those arm pads, or those arm little sticky things that make your arms kind of like, oh my god, I'll be able to catch the ball a lot better. And it's like, yeah, but eventually over time what happens is those muscles, they fuse because of you using them over and over again as a reflex. People aren't going to stop getting injured in football, no matter what. And this is over and over again, and just completely and utterly fake. Those are the differences between what I do and how they do it. And they're making millions and millions of dollars because they don't know how long they'll do it. And even the practice squad is making over, or at least over 100,000, if not 500,000 per person. They have the biggest budget known to man, and they have the biggest known ability to be able to be injured and hurt, or even die from that stuff, because they all sometimes die from heart failure because of the fact that they enlarge their hearts, and they do play, and they do things piece by piece by piece by piece. They do things the way they want to do it, but understandably so, it's not always the way they want to do it. It's the way that they were taught to do it, and that sucks, because eventually they really could have actually done something better. They could have been physicists or different people. They could have wanted to be something other than that, or even scientists, and put a stop to all of this bullshit that everyone constantly pushes towards. Oh, you gotta be like big and stuff like that to be able to be somebody in life. It's like, no, you don't. It's just, we have our obelisks, and that's football sometimes. And they understand that we have our obelisks that are in the military as well, because they don't do anything sometimes, and sometimes they are worse for us than they are against us, because sometimes we have to constantly push them, because we are the ones giving them money, and they're the ones that are constantly cycling through whatever they're doing. We give them money by paying attention to them. Whatever we pay attention to, it basically it pushes whatever kind of product they're selling. Whatever product they're selling is the next product that actually makes a difference in people's lives. And sometimes it doesn't make a difference at all, but it just makes a difference in the fact that we paid attention to it. Realize that people are dying because of the sport that we're paying attention to, because of the things that we're constantly paying attention to, besides their health and the fact that they shouldn't be making those plays sometimes, or they should be having flags in their goddamn belts, and making cooler jumps and funner things, and actually helping kids instead of putting a false heroic sort of mentality inside of their head to be able to make sure. And also that's probably the reasons why I don't have any viewers either, because I have unpopular opinions, and just because I have unpopular opinions doesn't mean that they're not real. And this is not real. What I'm playing isn't real. And granted, this at some point in the world or in the universe, this was probably a real thing. And you know, I don't know, but understandably so, it's not now, and it's not right now because of this code that's running through a certain thing. And I'm not programming a world to do something. Football is. And so is every other sport that we constantly run and watch and say that, oh my god, it's the end-all be-all, it's the end-all of everything. It's the end of, oh my god, I can't believe you made that play, that was amazing. It's like, I can't believe you made that jump, that was awesome. Can't believe you did that thing, that was great. But in the same sense, he's breaking his legs trying to make those plays. Or he's breaking his heart trying to make those plays. And in the same sense, he didn't have to be a football player with that amazing life or those amazing cars or anything like that. He just had to be somebody in a certain area of his own expertise. And Also, too, in some ways, sometimes people just go to college, or just go to play football, they go to college. And that's a good thing sometimes. But in the same sense, sometimes they don't remember certain things. And that leads them to make mistakes and actually make them not be able to make the things and do the things or become the people that they want to become, you know? I wanted to be an artist, and sometimes I do comic book stuff. Sometimes I do other stuff, but sometimes I need to be able to have practice in order to make the same drawing over and over again. I do the same drawing over and over again to have some sort of like thing available to myself, some sort of inspiration to be available. It took me 2 to 3 times to be able to make a drawing that I wish I could make on the first try.
Could you be any more boring?
So I think that probably was done by football, or something that I probably did to myself. Unfortunately, so football didn't help.
Submit to me.
Are you freaking serious?
Wonder Woman wins.
And granted, I don't feel a constant and that's sometimes what football in high school is people feel actually bad when they lose. People feel like they've lost their own ability to be able to do something because of the ways that sometimes we're taught to be able to do things. And oh, you didn't want it enough. Oh, you didn't do anything about it. It's abuse. It's literal abuse and manipulation through certain things. Realize that eventually you'll find that there are so many different ways to be able to go about certain problems or certain things, and there's in some ways people who can hold a minigun or something like that. It's like, I want to get big enough to where I can hold it. It's like, yeah, and your heart's going to get enlarged too. Or I want to be big enough to where I can hold a big gun or something like that, or be able to hold a gun and just not be affected by this. But in every way, you will be affected by everything that it is, you know? Understanding when it's time to stop, and sometimes when it's too late to be able to fix the damage and everything that's actually happened to you.
Aphrodite forbids you.
And sometimes even the opinions brought forth by the people that were that do stuff like all the war about this stuff is probably even perpetuated by certain governments that don't even exist anymore. Places that don't even push our values or push values that we have today. That's basically what's pushing this society sometimes. And people don't understand that we've been at this impasse so many times. And yet we still haven't changed. We still haven't changed what we do and how we do it. And sometimes what people need to understand is they just need to turn the TV off. And they wouldn't get as much money as they do. That's all you have to do. Just stop watching. Everything. Everything that you constantly watch. Everything that you constantly look at. And granted, even I need to stop watching some stuff, but understandably so. This doesn't hurt anyone. And granted, there's wrestling that does, because it's actually based in real life. This kind of stuff inspires me to be able to do different things and make different artwork and create different stuff. I really want to be able to create this stuff, or something like it, or at least a little bit of something like it, or maybe just to be inspired by it and then go in a different direction completely. Sometimes people don't understand that there are so many ways to be able to do things differently, and we push towards abuse, and sometimes we push towards what we don't know and how we don't know it. Realize that eventually what we push towards will be our downfall.
This is
And
goddamn pointless.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of Robin
I'm better
in this
than you.
Christmas Robin suit.
What a load of crap.
Begin.
God dang it.
The pain isn't over yet.
I need to get him down.
Won't hurt any less tomorrow.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Yes! Got it.
Hellboy wins.
We all have a competitive nature inside of us. So where we choose to be able to put that competitive nature, or that thing that we want to be able to win, or push ourselves to be able to want to win something, or to push towards something, realize that innate ability to be able to distinguish between reality and fictional is the biggest change that we can make inside of our own emotional states. And also, in the same sense, if we don't care, or they don't care about those things, or don't care about those outcomes at all, as far as them being fictional or real, then you need to be looked at, evaluated, and seen as a certain thing. Because I'm sure that there are so many people out there that actually do have something wrong with them, but no one looks at it. And in the same sense,
So, you're the fastest person alive.
Yeah, it's kind of my thing.
This just got a whole lot more interesting.
Begin.
that?
Bet you didn't see that coming.
Realize that eventually
Hellboy
you'll start to realize the difference between fake and real. And start to also realize the difference that pushing yourself to certain bounds means you need to take care of yourself more to be able to make up for that. And realizing that sometimes when people speak slowly or anything like that, I realize that eventually they push themselves so hard and push themselves so fast that sometimes they didn't realize that they had a certain form of diabetes afterwards because of the amount of food that they ate, because of the amount of things that they did. We have to start thinking a little bit more responsibly for ourselves and for the people that we actually think about every single day. And if not, then it'll be our downfall and it'll be our end. And no matter how I say it, it's still the same. To never back down is to never win. To never back down is to never have a break. And to never back down is to never be without the constant competition between yourself and the goal. The goal of whatever it is that people put in front of you to be able to make you their martyr or their fiend or their friend or anyone. Realize that you deserve a break sometimes. And that it could be the difference between you making a huge mistake and ending your career altogether. Then it could be to hey, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we shouldn't do something. Maybe we should do something else besides try to push ourselves to a certain limit and then make ourselves be a certain person for what we think we are doing. But in the same sense, we're trying to push ourselves for something that if we don't do, then we'll be ruined. Realize that there is a difference between winning a life lesson and winning a football game or a soccer game or a baseball game or anything like that. Realize that there is a difference between winning in life and winning a game, because that's what it is. It's just a game. And when it's not there, when it's not around, it's literally just fiction, just like this. And I'm gonna keep beating up random things. And also my controller's getting kind of hot. It's probably because of my hands. But yeah, realize that is that. It's like they're speculating on what they really want. They're speculating on what could be, on how it could be. Any man could, if they don't take care of themselves enough, could break their leg immediately. Or
Who are you
later on in
judge
life.
me?
That shit they don't show. They don't show they show all of the. This is what they don't show. They show the amount of times that Muhammad Ali won and the amount of inspiration he put on every single person that was around him. But they don't show the fact that he's almost retarded now. Okay? And oh, he's just old. No, he's retarded. He literally got so many concussions and he got hit so many times that it caught up with him. And that's what it does. It catches up with you. No matter what. It always will. There is in no way that anyone could be constantly inspired by somebody who beats the shit out of people and also in turn gets the shit beat out of them. What kind of lesson are you teaching little kids? What kind of lesson are you teaching people who want to be able to better themselves? What lesson are you being able to teach the people who are actually doing the experiments that are actually helping these people make sure that they can get the vitamins that they need to be able to work the next day? I don't know. Just I don't get it. You know?
Begin.
And also in the same sense, it inspires what I think violence is too. But in the same sense, people who are responsible and know the difference between fictional and non-fictional are probably the heroes that none of their actually even says in this stuff. But also in the sense,
Protect the weak.
Won't hurt any less tomorrow.
Got him.
Hellboy wins.
And you can say that the other stuff that I put in on this PS4 that I'm playing is in some ways detrimental to what people actually think a proper video game highlight reel is, or anything like that. But in the same sense, you can also say the stuff that people do every single day is probably pushing more of a want to be able to it's a pain legs, okay. Those are basically the things that I see in everyday life, and there's more violence in everyday life than sometimes what is on this game. So, because this is fictional violence. This is they get back up after you punch them, but in real life sometimes they don't.
Lady, I really.
And most of the time they don't. So,
aren't you the least bit curious?
I'd say be real to yourself and be real to the fact that
Begin.
a dude that's red with a woman with ears on her head and a whip, yes, and knows how to use that whip like really well, who's been training for like 13 years, would have scars on her hands at least sometimes, because, or even on her face, because of the amount of times that she's actually hit herself with it. And imagining the amount of time that it would take to actually be able to pick up an entire statue of an elf and throw it at someone. Or have a hand that was bigger than your other hand, and one hand you use a revolver and the other you punch the shit out of things with, and they immediately die. So just spitballing here, but I think there's any type of things that can harm people because of the fact that he only hits people with whips, or other supervillains, you know?
Won't hurt any less tomorrow.
Shit. Alright. She is also extremely hot. Like this is like almost robotic type of movements and stuff like that. Like inhuman movements sometimes as well. It's like really like it would be, she basically beat the shit out of any football player that was ever even around, you know?
I see it, I want it, it's mine.
Can't argue with
And he
that.
would beat out of probably an entire like 20 teams of football players just by the shit that he does, you know? Like they're just, I don't know, like they're all an attainable feat of strength. So it's like, how could they envision any violence or anything like that? Like they also like they just, I guess they're just what's the word, it sucks. And in the same sense, I want to win, so it's like, but I'm actually controlling this character. I'm not actually, like, and I know it's fake because I'm controlling the character.
You can end this.
But instead of the same thing as like people who say like, oh, we won! Do you see that we won that game? It's so awesome that we won that game! But they weren't actually playing that game, but they won. And then also in the same sense, they lose. And they're like, man, whatever, it's fine. We'll get it next time. We'll get it next time. I see it all the time. It's ridiculous. It's really is. It's like, no, those people are putting their lives on the line to be able to do different stuff and be able to get sponsors and a whole bunch of different other things, and you're just sitting down like, well, oh well, we'll get them next time.
Lady, I really
Like I never ever I'm on a team that I say that I'm on, that I'm not playing for, or actually doing maybe even calculations for, because probably what I would only be doing, because so on the feet. You will let. I just don't get it sometimes, and I know that some people actually love it, and people like it, and people are like, oh my god, he's becoming a microbiologist or something like that, or a microbiologist. And it's like, yeah, but he's also a lineman on some of the states. There we go. Yes. Finally got her down to a health that's lower than mine. She was about to go into a stupid combo. Son of a bitch. And that's what she does with like 5 hits. Like that. I can't do.
This is going perfectly.
She's
I
like,
am so over this crap.
I don't even have anything. She's got 4 bars. She's going up. You stupid kid. And that's why when I like, imagine these dudes actually do say some of that shit on the field, like. Like, they say that shit on the field. Like, if you really heard what they would say, sometimes, like, bad lip reading, it's like, oh my god, it's so hilarious. It's like, they curse each other out on the field constantly, sometimes. It's like, yeah, man, come on, you know? Be a little bit better, you know? And it's like, I don't know, you're trying to get in your head and stuff like that. They used to do that all the time.
You don't take a lot of crap.
And they still do it.
I see it, I want it, it's mine.
Can't argue with that
Like,
logic.
it's like, if anyone's like, I see people calling me a hero, and it's like, what are you talking about? You were never considered a hero. What do? You have sponsors. That's it. That's all you do. Like, that's all you do. The people constantly do paperwork for you, and constantly do stuff, grand deals, and constantly do other paperwork for you, and all you do is sit and smile sometimes because you did the work on the field. It's like, you know what? You beat the shit out of people. And I don't know, man. I don't respect it, you know? It's like the same way that I don't respect these characters sometimes, because they're just ideas, you know? It's like you expect me to believe that somehow that because of an idea that you didn't even come up with, that somehow you're a hero. I mean, I'm saying that I loved the Saints when I was younger, but then I realized what kind of message they were giving me. I realized what kind of message they were putting towards me, or putting on me. You know, I don't look up to them, and like I don't look up to a lot of people that I said that to. So, I mean, it's like what kind of ideals are people actually pushing towards you? Realize that before anything.
Wouldn't last a day at the bureau.
Like, this fictional character is just an idea to me. I don't respect it or think that it's fun or think that it's amazing. I think that it's a character, and that's the reason why I like it, because it's fictional and it's not real. It doesn't have to be anything. It could be anything I want it to be, or anything that the writer wants it to be. That's the cool part about. They can be anything. They're just an idea. They don't get paid. The actor that portrays them gets paid like millions of dollars, obviously, because they usually do a good job sometimes if they pick the right kind of person for it. That's the point, is I don't believe in the characters. I know I'm old enough and able-bodied to be able to realize that those characters don't try to envision or even sponsor a certain sort of thing. Because even Deadpool himself is funny because of the way that he knows that he's fake. The way that he knows that his character means nothing is the reason why he acts the way that he does. There was even a line in one of his comic books. He's like, I just can't win. Why can't he win? Because of the fact that he's not real. That he's an idea put and portrayed into an entire series of comic books. And that's why none of these characters can ever win. Because they're not real. Do you want to become that? Does any character or does any person want to become not real? To be able to portray an idea about themselves? Because that's the only thing that actually is the reason why you would ever be portrayed or even seen as a hero or a villain or anything like that. If that's what they want to become, or if that's how they want to become things, I guess that what people need to understand is these things aren't real. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in demons, angels, any of it. Or the fact that this dude is some sort of demon-possessed dude who still stands for good in some ways, but it's just an anti-hero and wants to do different things. But if the way that people portrayed demons actually existed the way that they did, then those would be the only creatures. Those two things would be the only creatures that existed. But in the same sense, it's like this character right here represents the fact that sometimes things aren't always the way we see them. Sometimes people aren't always the way we see them. And that's the idea that I think is actually speaks true to the fact that it's an idea and a fictional character, because he does things that aren't characteristically specific to a demon, because he is a demon, but he tore off his horns. Why did he tear off his horns? To become more like what he saw and what he envisioned, and how he envisioned, to realize that what nurture and nature both have for us are different in aspects, but the same sometimes in being able to realize certain attributes about ourselves that are different than what we would soon think or seem to think that what we are is what binds us to something. No. The idea of what we are binds us to ourselves because we come up with that idea. So that's what Hellboy represents and is the reason for. But understandably so, that's also the reasons why some people seem to think that football itself, or any sport, and an example, is sometimes an American norm. And it's not, because sometimes people don't even believe in what football represents. And that's the reason why sometimes they do experiments and do different things with science or mathematicians or mathematics or any kind of things besides football. I just think that sometimes they shouldn't progress it in schools the way that they do, or even make it seem like something, because I didn't have a choice. I would fail a class if I didn't play football. It's literally what they said to me. I have not done that, but I really pressured. And as he left to go on to a different job, you know, I was left out. And maybe he gave me his card eventually. He saw how high I could jump still with even 5 titanium pins in my leg. Realizing that I wasn't affected because I still wanted to play. But I wasn't able to realize because a child, and that's the reason why sometimes I realize that the idea of something is good, but sometimes the portrayal of what actually is harmful to people, or is harmful to what people actually even think about. But that's the reason why I think that this is a good portrayal of a character that is supposed to be evil in some senses, but isn't, because of the mere nature of the way that he was brought up, or the mere nature of what he actually is, or even the idea that what people actually portray him to be is the thing that keeps him from becoming whatever those things are that he's actually defending against. It's an idea. It's a fictional character. It will never get paid. It will never be a hero. But in the same sense, the idea of that is the hero to me, because I only take the idea from what it is to be able to see what kind of truth it's trying to tell me. So if they want to become that, or if they want to become a truth, or anything like that, then that's when I will see them as a hero, at any point. Any one of the people who have become, or are said to have become football stars, or heroes, or any of that stuff, or any person who wants to believe, because just because they fight for a country doesn't mean that they're a hero sometimes, because they have to embody the things of selflessness and humility. They're not pushing. Whenever they get out, they're like, oh my God, I have to have everything the way that I want it. And it's like, no. It's like sometimes people get shit fucked up sometimes, and they think that somehow they're the hero when in actuality they weren't. They didn't experience those things. Our country did. And that's the reason why sometimes people have to realize and put things back and put things understand that no, they shouldn't be thinking about what my medals are or anything like that, because it can be stripped from you at any point in the military at all, because of what your rank is or what your thing is. People are constantly pushed upon that, and to realize that your rank is nothing. It means nothing if you don't do your job correctly. It means nothing, and it means that you're disgraced as far as being the person that you really want to be, if you don't continue to be that hero for the people that you believe in and the people that you love. Believe in yourself and believe in the ideals that you really want to. And I believe in this somewhat ideal. Sometimes just because of your past or just because of what people portray you as about to be, that doesn't mean you are that person. It doesn't mean you are that thing. And that's the ideas that I constantly push towards. And I'm gonna keep beating the shit out of things with this idea. Bleh. All right. So got one more and land 4 throws during the match. I'm actually probably gonna win this one, maybe. Oh. Let's stand up now because I've been sitting for an hour and 51 minutes.
Ray gun.
Oh.
This gun can stop the Flash.
Against me, it isn't worth crap.
I can't even actually hear anything they're saying, but cool. I almost threw it. Almost threw him. Got him. Was that a throw? That wasn't a throw, was it? That wasn't a throw, just grabbed him. I'm probably not gonna do it. But yeah, that's what I believe in sometimes. And if people want to become an idea or an ideal or become a face on a Wheeze box, and that is to uphold the law or the things or the things that you believe in your life, realize that you become a commodity. And this is what a commodity is. Something that's fake, an idea, and that's the reason why. You want to become that every day of your life? Son of a bitch. Why did you? I'm not gonna get it. Got it. Oh, fucking son of a god damn it. Sorry, these actors, I'm not actually considered an idea or anything like that. I'm just not even portraying but playing these characters on something that is and that's the reason why I like comic books and all that other different stuff. Because I'm not taken to a world or anything like that. I'm not taken to anything. I take a viewfinder to a different world, or a different set of possibilities in the world that could be today, or that could have been today, if people would have thought a certain way or certain things. And in some ways, they could be portrayals of different people that are actually real, but in the same sense, they're not actually the things that I see in a real world. They're not actually the things that I believe in. Sometimes, even if they are real, or even if they are portrayed from a real character or a real person. So there's that, and there's only that when it comes to these characters. When it comes to a real person, they have constant morals and constant things to actually be scrutinized and be put up against or held to. And if they don't meet those rules, then they're constantly put into the dirt, or they're constantly put into something that people actually think are going to do something or going to say something about them. They can say what they are is what they are, but they are not what they are is what they are. If they were a fictional character, then that's how they would be. Just an idea set forth to be able to inspire, to be able to set forth different ideals about something that they believe in, or that they think about, or that their creator believes in. So I believe that that being on the right path is always the right thing, but also too, in the same sense, if you're not seeing what you do to other people by doing certain things, or by saying certain things, or by hugging a kid and not actually being there for him, or actually like playing video games with a kid, or actually reading a comic book to them, or reading something, or doing something at all, realize that you're held up to the scrutiny of people no matter what you do. These ideas aren't, because they don't live after the idea. They don't live after the comic book ends. you live after the comic book ends. So you have the idea to be able to scrutinize whatever these ideas mean to anything or anyone. So he uses whatever power he has to be able to defeat the things that are around him that are evil, or more evil than what he's portrayed to be. So there you go. That's why I believe in comic books. Sometimes more than I believe in real people. Cowboy torso time. I got a platinum mother box. Nice. A right hand of doom. Nice. But I gotta get when it's 20, when I'm level 20. All right. So realize that that when real people are put behind the objective of being an idea or any sort of thing, realize that those people themselves have emotions and blockages sometimes for those emotions because of things that they've actually been through. Realize that there are certain things and certain people that do certain things and certain things at all to be able to make sure that they can become whatever this idea actually means to them, or whatever any idea means to them, or whatever thing means to them. Because it could be angelic, it could be demonic, it could be stupid, it could be dumb, it could be great, it could be amazing, it could be anything you actually think about it. Book of Andre, what's up, Book of Andre? How's it going? I'm actually gonna be stopping this thing because I'm kind of hungry and I want to eat food. But I'll look up your tell me your stuff. No, I'm not high. Why? What's going on? But yeah, that's basically how I believe in certain things. So existentialism. No, I'm not high, Book of Andre. I'm just a little bit healthier than I used to be. So so that's it. I'll see you later, and all right, man. Talk to you later. I gotta go because I'm freaking hungry, and I've been sitting for an hour and a half actually before I ate. I ate breakfast, but I didn't eat lunch yet. So, all right. I'll see you later. And also think about watch this entire video if you haven't been, and think about what existentialism towards ideas and what characters mean to you. All right, cool. You can watch the video and we'll come up with a discussion later on my next episode because I'm probably doing another live stream today. So, all right, man. Talk to you later, dude. Bye. Thank you very much for listening. And this has been Game Therapy with Joe Bomb Squad.